I really want to cement in our community's mind the idea that I'm calling late stage liberalism.
In the moment that you grab the gun, like Fanon says, you're no longer oppressed. You're now free.
What ends up happening is people grow up in a world where skyscrapers can get built, nobody's being thrown in prison for something that they said. And so you just think like the world's pretty good. It will always be like this. There's always gonna be money. Countries don't go broke because our country hasn't gone broke, that you have influence all around the world, that you can travel wherever you want, that the American passport is like a free ticket basically anywhere. This is great, this is wonderful. And this just is how the world is. Late stage liberalism is where it is so ingrained in people's minds that the money will just always flow, the money trees will always grow, that you don't realize that you can break your economy by breaking entrepreneurs. You don't even realize it's entrepreneurs that create that. I'm not trying to over-celebrate entrepreneurs. I'm just saying that economies have physics. And the only thing that gets people to pay money is that they get a result. So people don't pay for products, they pay for outcomes. And so what entrepreneurs do is they go, I really want to make a lot of money. I want to separate myself from the pack. Money is resources. I want access to more resources. And I realize the way to get those resources is to solve a problem, to find a thing that people really care about and give them a really dope solution where I create this economic engine that outputs something more valuable than the inputs. And there's a whole class of people that are just wired like that from an evolutionary standpoint. You give them the cultural milieu, the political policies where they're able to do that without too much risk. They're able to aggregate capital, borrow money, all of that stuff. The output is this incredible economic system that we call capitalism. Okay, in late stage capitalism, we start breaking that because we believe it's a law of the universe. We don't realize that it's a bunch of psychotic motherfuckers like me that will lose sleep thinking about shit, trying to solve problems, dealing with all the difficulties, putting their own money at risk, being the only one to lose. My employees have always and will always get paid, even though I'm not getting paid. People don't understand that that's how this fucking stuff works. There were two of us in 2010, maybe even 2011, two people in my household living off of $50,000 in Los Angeles. And on Easter Sunday, I had my wife in a freezing facility making a prototype batch of protein bars. No one gives a fuck. It's like money flows. That's how they look at it. They literally don't understand that, no. There is a class of people that want to do this thing driven by their own thing. You don't have to clap for them. They just want a shot to build a thing that solves a problem in your life, charge a fair price for it, and that's it, and that's the game. But we get to the point, which you're about to see in this clip, where they think that it all grows on trees. We need to be violent. To what? To confiscate things from the people that show up on Easter Sunday in the fucking cold to make the bar when there are two people living off of $50,000 in one of the most expensive cities on planet Earth. They don't even have the frame of reference. They don't understand how the economy works. And so they start talking about violence from the safety of a world where it just all works.
Just to say that in the class, my students' heads explode, right? To tell them about violence.
Do you know why their heads explode? Because violence sucks. And even in like Vietnam, it's some I don't know the exact figure, but this is going to be so close. 70% of people will stand on the line while being shot at and they won't shoot back. Like violence is hard to get people to do. And this is why you have like sociopaths continue through the gene pool, even though you think we all hate them. But the reality is when you start fighting, you want to throw some psychopaths at the other team because you're like, I don't want to shoot. I think in most firing squads, they know one person has a blank so that everybody can tell themselves, I was the one with the blank. Violence should be a thing where people are like, what? The most last resort thing you can imagine.
As sometimes a revolutionary essential.
We actually need to crash the U.S. settler state.
What do we mean by crash? This is somebody who thinks, okay, we're going to crash this thing. Oh, but there's still going to be groceries at the grocery store. My AC unit is still going to work. No, it's not. You're going to get fucking stabbed to death at the grocery store because you got the last block of cheese. These people are out of their goddamn minds. They are so lost in a frame of reference where shit just shows up. They can't imagine that this is all a bunch of people working in a coordinated fashion, very hard, very diligent, that there's so much cooperation that's required. International cooperation, that somebody has to police the seas, that somebody has to stop the Houthis from bombing ships, somebody has to stop pirates, somebody has to make sure that things get through customs, that there isn't so much corruption that we can't get anything done. These are the same people that if you say, hey, zombie apocalypse, do you want to live? Oh my God, no way. Like, I want to be one of the people that gets taken out. Bitch, you are asking for a fucking zombie apocalypse and you somehow think that there aren't going to be negative consequences. At least I want to survive the zombie apocalypse just to see what the fuck happens. These people actively want to cause the zombie apocalypse. This is so wild, dude. People need to understand how the economy works. Like, they actually need to be able to map it from beginning to end, like even at just a high level, to understand how this stuff works. Ray Dalio's made cartoons for you. Play the cartoon over and over and over. And once you can teach it, then come talk to me about what crashing the economy looks like. Oh, and by the way, walk me through Argentina. Walk me through how Argentina goes from doing better than Canada, being able to compete with America for immigrants. More immigrants would go to Argentina for opportunity than America, to them for 100 years, becoming a constantly cooed government, people struggling to like survive, to eat, to being just a total economic backwater for 100 years. It is wild to me that people will use words like, we have to crash the colonial state,
and literally strangles the tentacles that are reaching into the Israeli state.
So we must stand with the armed resistance and work right now to end this impunity by disrupting the flow of weapons to Zionists. Because
one thing I really want to know from these guys is like, what is their value system? If you're running an algorithm that says, if you're being oppressed, you're the good guy, it's like, play that out. The level of mad that people have against Zionists, Israelites, they were the oppressed people. That's exactly how they got. That was the narrative. I mean, the truth, but they used that narrative to get Israel. And then they really did something with it. Like, they really turned it into an incredible state that doesn't have access to the oil resources and all that. And yet they were still able to build a thriving economy. They were able to build a place where, I mean, I don't even ask you to look at Palestine. Look at any of the other Muslim countries around there. Look at Egypt. For all of Bassem Youssef's like thunder and like noise, he had to flee Egypt because he was worried they were going to imprison or kill him. It's wild to me, like how hard in the paint that he goes and always tells people, oh, why do you keep asking about Egypt? Dude, you fled the fucking country. That's why I'm asking about Egypt. Israel made a place where gays could be safe. Aren't they oppressed? So I understand why we hate that they came into a country and we're like, hey, we got a playbook. We're going to import until we are politically and economically powerful enough that we're going to take it over. I get it. I'd fucking fight against that. If China was trying to do that here, I'd fight. They've been in a country now for a hot minute. The question we should be asking is, how does Egypt become a more stable place where people are thriving, where people don't have to flee? How does Palestine actually become a state? Like, what do we want to see them do? They had billions of dollars in aid, and they were like, we're going to use this to fight. Was that a good use of that money? I would say no. I would say this should have been a total economic game. They should have been doing anything and everything they could to not need anything from Israel, to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, even though, again, you have a parallel so that you can understand what this could have looked like. Turkey invaded Cyprus and took over like 30% of the island, took over the most powerful economic port, all of that. Like, literally the world's most similar like thing happened. And same thing, places divided, but they didn't go to war with each other. I mean, they invaded, they took over, but then the Cypriots in the south just said, we're just going to get on with it. And diplomatically, they're still to this day, whatever, 50 years later, they're still like trying to like get it resolved diplomatically, but they just built their state. They let go of what happened and they just moved forward. That would be my pitch. I'm not asking anybody to like that Israel came into existence, but saying that like this has got to be a violent struggle instead of, let's just focus on, we still have this, let's build this up, let's make this awesome. And then you can put yourself in a position where you have leverage. But when your go-to is acts of terrorism, like, that's wild, man. Full disclosure, if China invades, I'm gonna fucking shoot bullets. Like, it is what it is. But when you're talking 70, 80 years later, it's like, kids, we're playing the wrong game.